Hey there, bibliophiles! Let's break it down. Today, I'm joined by Jamie, owner of the Rogue Bookshop, an independent bookstore built on the belief that stories can connect people and create long lasting community. Located in Beloit, Wisconsin, the Rogue Bookshop is more than a place to buy books. It's a welcoming space that celebrates diverse voices, encourages discovery, and reminds us all why indie bookstores matter so much. Jamie has built something really special, and I'm so excited for you to hear the passion behind it all. Welcome, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. My immediate question when it comes to indie bookstore owners is how did the Rogue Bookshop come to be?
Yeah, it was kind of a wild ride. Um, my background is kind of all over the place. My degree is in film, so it was really always storytelling that I was drawn to in different ways, every way, shape, and form. Um, and I was studying film. I graduated. I was looking for a job. I was working part time, kind of a limited position at the University of Wisconsin Press. I've always been a reader. I loved learning about publishing, especially academic publishing, which is kind of an interesting niche. And I just wanted to stay surrounded by books. So I ended up applying for a job at an independent bookstore in Madison, Wisconsin, which is just a little bit north of us and here in Beloit. And I got the job and I was working there for about 10 hours a week while I was still figuring out what my big job was going to be. And I just fell in love with it. And the opportunity presented itself that, hey, maybe this isn't so out of reach for you to do on your own and build a bookstore the way you want it to be. It was just kind of like a nugget in my mind that was there for about 6 months. And then things started just moving forward. I was looking for a location and everything just fell into place really nicely so that I couldn't ignore that this made a lot of sense.
So it was later in life you thought about owning a bookstore, and you said like
Absolutely.
6 months after you thought about it, like you made it happen?
It was probably about a year and a half from the idea to signing the lease. And then once I
Still,
signed the
that
lease, it was about 2 months till I opened.
that's still like it feels like so quick. I feel like you manifested that, like you made up your mind one day and made it happen.
Yes. And I think I was very much influenced by what I was reading at the time, which is,
What were you reading?
I was reading Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Berkman. He also wrote 4,000 Weeks. And um, it's just a great book about, making you realize that life is short and you have this time. You can either do what you want to do with it, or you can, just do what you think you should be doing. So yeah, I was very much inspired by life is short and it's okay to fail. And sometimes, I mean, you always learn from failure and that was an okay thing. If this fails, it's going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Opening a business is scary. Opening a bookstore is terrifying. We've seen the ebbs and flows of the bookstore life, and um, I think that we've turned a page and people understand that the importance of independent bookstores and the community that they bring. And I feel really secure in where we are now, and I feel like I made a good decision in the bookstore, but definitely a terrifying thing.
Well, I relate to the, no one knows their last day, making every day count. And I think that's really inspiring how you decided, this is how I want my life to look, and you set out and do that. I feel like the fear of making that first step really gives people some analysis paralysis, but with no risk comes no reward too. So now you're here today with the Rogue Bookshop.
Yeah, that's true.
I know we all dream like what it would be like to, own a bookstore, but what does an actual day look like for you at the Rogue Bookshop?
It's very long. I usually get here about an hour before we open so that I can do admin stuff, any cleaning that didn't get done the night before, or it's usually just a lot of admin stuff. And then we open at 10 o'clock. I have staff that's with me usually at least half of the day. Tuesdays, I'm lucky. I have staff here all day with me, so that I can leave a little bit early. But it's really just we're receiving books, we're putting books out, we're emailing constantly, we're thinking of events, something new and fun to get more people in the bookshop, and also just to engage more with the community. Um, so we're always thinking about that. Social media posts takes up a lot of our time, a lot of my time. Um, so these are like all things that I have to kind of hit in the day. Like, have we posted? Is that copy up for the event next week? Do we have tickets being sold for yoga on Saturday? It's very much just checking in on all those little things. At the same time, um, meeting customers and selling books and giving recommendations and still being very engaged with the people who are in the store. Um, I'd like to say I take a lunch break, but that normally doesn't happen. um, and then closing is really easy. I think we're always working so much during the day that when we're ready to close up shop, everything's ready to go. And then I actually still live in Madison, so I have an hour drive to go home when we close up. So I'm listening to an audiobook. Sometimes I'm just chilling out to music, but I really try and listen to an audiobook, use that time to like read something and consume more books because I feel like that's kind of I think of my commute as almost a privilege. Like it's forced reading time for me because I still, even though I'm working 12-hour days sometimes, I still need to keep up on books and constantly be reading too. So um, I get to read on the way home, and then I always get to have dinner with my family. Dinner's ready at 7 when I get home, and that's great. Um, and then I always read more before bed. Sometimes it's just like 10 minutes, but that still 10 minutes is 10 minutes. So yeah, that's a typical day.
No, I agree with you. Sometimes those 10 minutes, even if it's just 10 minutes, means so much, especially
Because
at
it
the end of a
adds,
long day.
yes, it adds up. That those 10 minutes or those 10 pages, they build into a book, and before you know it, that book you finished it. So yeah, those 10 minutes matter.
Also, can I say how much I love how bookstores do events too? Because typically, if you're out in a book area, you're at the library, which typically is quiet and you want to be respectful of other people's time. Or you're at like a big chain like Barnes and Noble, and maybe they'll have an author signing, but still it just feels kind of weird. But like at independent bookstore events, it's like there's always like a theme, and walking in, you're in here with like-minded people for whatever that event is, and there's a space dedicated for that, and that's so important in our community. Like, thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, thank you. I feel privileged to be able to do that. Yeah. And a lot of it is a little selfish too, because I think of like our yoga in the bookstore. Like I do yoga in the bookstore because I like to do yoga. And if it's in the bookstore, then I have no excuse not to do it. And like having authors that I admire and I want to hear about, like, yes, I'm going to bring them in. So, maybe that's what makes it successful or the events, that I'm really engaged in them too. I mean, not every event is successful. That's just, I think it's the nature of author events, unfortunately. But we've had some really great ones, and I will continue to do them. And I think events are really crucial for independent bookstores just to bring in. more people and continue to engage with the community. And it's just, I mean, it's not even just author events. It's a lot of like non-author events too, is more of our most successful events because people just want to be in a bookstore. And it really is
Hmm.
just the community that I think people have missed out on for so long with the decline of bookstores. Uh, so yeah, that's definitely, it definitely pulls people into the store.
Well, and the caring shows too, like how you mentioned that you do yoga at the bookstore because you like to do yoga. I mean, it's just one of those you take the risk, kind of like how we were talking about before, and now you get the reward. Like you're able to do these things, and maybe it won't work out, but maybe it does. But if it does, you get to find more like-minded people like yourself, where
Yes.
you can share this joy with, rather than worrying if it will do well. What if people don't like it and stuff like that?
That's very true. And you know what? I think I needed to hear that. So thank you. Because, yeah, sometimes they're not always successful, but they're there for the people who need them. And that's really important. Yeah.
Hmm. Exactly. I mean, I basically made this podcast because I didn't have enough people to talk about books, and being a book lover with in my local community, you know, you manifesting the bookstore because you had that dream and passion and you wanted people to talk about books with and do this kind of stuff and events with, like, it's scary at first, but it is rewarding if you really, really try hard.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
difficult too.
Yeah. It is. It is. But the reward is definitely better. Yeah. Even with the sleepless nights and, worrying, is it going to work out? It is. Everything's going to be fine. Yes.
Yep. Just like put that post-it note in front of your computer, whatever you're doing, and be like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna work out.
Yes.
Just keep
See,
going. Don't stop.
I need it on my nightstand. So at 3 a.m. when I wake up, it's there. And it says, just go back to bed. Don't worry.
So there's a lot of people out there on Bookstagram that dream of having their own bookstore one day. If they're listening right now, what advice do you have for them?
I would say work at a bookstore first
Hmm.
because I learned so much from my time managing the bookstore in Madison that I never would have been able to start a bookstore without that knowledge. Just as far as knowing what books to order or looking at sales data. And it's such like it's a bit of a closeted industry. Like nobody knows how major publishers work, and you need a rep to order books, and like what is all this stuff. And I just never would have known where to start if I didn't first work at a bookstore.
That is brand new information to me that you need a rep to order books. Like,
Well, yeah, and you don't necessarily see that's one of the things. Like, do you need a rep or do you not need a rep? Um, yeah, it's interesting because most of us
and
like will get reps for our region,
mm,
but there's different ways to order from publishers. So like you can order electronically, you can order over the phone, you can order by email on like their specific portal. Like navigating all those different ways, and then it's different through each publisher. So like just all that industry specific administration stuff. I never would have had an opportunity to know how to engage with that.
oh my gosh, I also work IT for my day job, so now I'm imagining like a website or an app that like consolidates all of them and like just knows in the back end, like if you put in an order like through a publisher, just routes it for you so you don't have to deal with all of that.
Let me know when you do that.
I'll have to talk to you offline about
I'll
how that happens.
I'll beta test. I will
Okay.
beta test.
Well, and I think another important topic you brought up is the sales side and, the logistics too, because a lot of book girls joke like, I love to read, I cried in math class in high school, but sales and budget and projecting, I imagine, is a huge component to
Yeah.
your business.
I say all the time, I'm a words person. I'm not a numbers person. And like it's hard when you just don't have that like natural inclination to budgeting and so yeah, it's definitely been like a learning curve for me. Um, but there's just so many tools out there that you can use to help you with that. And once you find the right one, like it makes it so much easier. So yeah, you gotta keep trying new tools and stuff. That's another part of the industry, in any industry. Like it's always evolving.
That's true. That's true. You have to keep up, or, you'll wake up one day and realize you're antiquated. So now that you've been in business for yourself for some time, what is your favorite thing about the Rogue Bookshop?
Um, I know I've said this word already a lot, but it's really the community that I'm building here. Um, I'm I'm from a small town that's about 20 minutes north of Beloit, and like I said, I've been living in Madison for about 15 years now. So when I was looking for a bookstore to open, I was really looking around the Madison area, but I kept coming back to Beloit. Like we would come here when I was a kid. I knew a lot about Beloit. Beloit didn't always have the best reputation. Um, but there's been a lot of growth here in the last 10, 20 years. A lot of money's been put into the downtown to revitalize it, and it's such a quaint, cute downtown that I just kept coming back down here, and I'm like, there's something here. There's really something special here. And I'm also a sucker for an underdog. So like I love a community that gets a bad rap, and I want to tell everybody that it's a beautiful place and the people here are wonderful and diverse and welcoming. Um, so when I opened, I just got the best response from the community, and I have so many regulars that make it a point to come and shop at my store every month so that I continue to stay here. And just knowing that everybody wants the bookstore here is enough to make me do everything I can to keep it here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I feel like you, in turn, are giving a lot to the community, and to see that come back, too. That's just fantastic.
Yes, it definitely has come back. It's come back tenfold. I love this community very much. Especially being an
So
outsider
when
kind of. I've just been very very welcomed here. Yeah.
Well, and I think people see bookstores as, they're a place for knowledge and learning, whether it be fiction, nonfiction, whatever your preference is, but you never hear really horrible things happening in a bookstore, and I think there's great reasons for that.
Right. That's very true. Like my clientele are very calm, wonderful people who like to read. So, yeah, we don't have much for any problems, luckily.
And so when you're out and about and you introduce yourself to someone and they ask what you do and you say you're a bookstore owner and they make some assumptions about you, what are some things you wish more people knew about being a bookstore owner?
It's a good question. That's a great question. Hmm. You know what? Uh, I think the assumption that bookstores, bookstores don't make a lot of money. So like people don't think of us, people may think us a business owner. Um, being a lucrative thing, but I think that's the assumption people make that is right. Is that bookstores, it's not an extremely lucrative business. A lot of bookstore owners also work full-time jobs
Mm-hmm.
while owning a bookstore. I'm lucky enough that this is my full-time job. I don't pay myself. I don't have a salary or an income. But this is my full-time job. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's an assumption that's true, is that I'm not making that much money. But I don't know if there's one that I can think of that. Yeah, I don't know.
I know I know I've seen some of the not great corners of Bookstagram be like, oh, it must be nice to drink coffee and read books all day. And I'm like, how do you
Oh,
think
yeah.
people make money if they just read books all day while at the bookstore?
That is, okay, that assumption has presented itself to me. Um, when I was at, this was like a couple weeks ago, somebody came in and was like, "Don't you get bored?" What do you mean? Just sitting here. Do you just read all day? It's like, no, I really wish that would sound, I mean, that sounds great. Um, so yeah, you're right. That's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I see that one and I'm always baffled. Like, with any industry, I just don't understand why bookstores have that rep in general. Because it's like with any industry, if someone is sitting there not doing anything, you're not going to assume they're going to stay in business. But you'll support bookstores and be like, oh, it's so nice to do nothing all day. It just, the logic crisis there
Yeah,
is amazing.
that's crazy. Yes, I wish. That's my answer to that. I really wish.
So I know you talked about studying film and then, being more aware of publishing and reading, but have you read your entire life? Is reading a newer hobby for you?
I've always been a reader. And I remember like road trips with my family and we would all listen to the same audiobook. I mean, it was just always something that was there. I never really thought too much about it. We always had books. We went to the library. And in high school, I was always reading. I loved my English class. It wasn't something that I was like, books are going to be my life, but books were always in my life. And it was kind of
Mm.
like I don't know, like, duh. Why wouldn't you make this your career? So yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, I've always been a reader, and it was always something really important in my family too.
Yeah, I think it's funny for our generation especially because especially road trips. When I had one when I was younger too, we didn't have Netflix, iPad, all this technology, and so I just had a stack of books and my grandparents would joke like we were afraid we left her somewhere because she was so quiet in the back seat reading her books.
Yeah.
And so I think too, I think that instilled in me a love of road trips because
Mm-hmm.
of those memories, but also being able to connect with a book, whether it be audiobook or physical reading. It's such great uninterrupted reading time.
Yes. And getting sucked into a book, no matter where you are, is the best feeling in the world, hands down.
So, what are your favorite genres?
Yeah. I'm a literary fiction girl. I like character-driven literary fiction. Um, I like an unreliable narrator.
Ooh,
I like an unlikable protagonist. Like these are my favorite things. Um, I also really love science fiction. I think the thing that gets lost about science fiction a lot is that it really is about um, humanity and what it means to be human. Um, yeah, I love science fiction. Not much of a nonfiction girly, I admit, but I always try. Like I try and have a couple nonfictions on my list for the year. Um, I recently got into more fantasy. Uh, who didn't get sucked into Fourth Wing? I don't know, because I'm guilty. Um, but yeah, those are my top two for sure. But I read everything because you kind of have to, being in this position. Yeah.
I adore an unreliable narrator. I remember, what was it? The Girl on the Train?
Yep.
And I remember reading that and being like, all unreliable narrators should be like this.
Yes.
Like, that was just
That's a great.
that, yeah. And I kind of feel like I've been searching for that. since then across my genres because I usually read horror or thriller. But
Okay.
if there's someone that you don't like as a main character, unreliable narrator, like I'm in. Like I'll read it no matter what genre it is.
Have you done Yesteryear yet?
It is so funny you bring that up. Someone at work last week asked me to read it, and then someone else just tagged me in a review asking me to read it as well. So it is high on my list.
I was reading that book and I was like, I hate her. I hate this. I hate this. And then it's just like, I love this. This is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Have you read Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer?
No.
Okay. It's it's kind of like from what I can gather yesteryear, but it's very horror based, but it's also an everyone sucks here, but I kind of love it. And then at the end
Yes.
it's like, "Oh my gosh."
Yes. That's what I like. Yes. I'll have to check it out.
And I think too when you have a story where there's like all of these characters that are just unlikable, I think there's a relatability there with how we are in present society. Like, yes, there's also good people, you can build your community, but there's also some relatability where, yeah, that person was a jerk for on the
Mhm.
highway for no reason. I wonder what went through their mind. And you see it from this book.
Yes, I agree. Yes. I mean, people are complex characters, and that should be shown in our literature for sure.
So, besides what you've already mentioned, someone walks in the bookstore and says, I need some fiction recommendations. Where do you go to?
We have a staff picks wall. So all of our favorite books that we're reading or have read are all posted on the wall. And it says whose favorite it was or whose staff pick it was, and also gives a little blurb about why they loved it. Um, so I gravitate towards there because we always want that to be changing, and there's always something there. Um, if it's like somebody who wants to get back into reading, who hasn't read very much lately, I always recommend The Alchemist. That's like
Mm,
that's like the only book that I reread. And it's short and it's almost reads like a fable. So, and it's also so thought provoking that it ticks a lot of
mm-hmm.
boxes. Some of my other favorites right now that I'm trying to like picture the board, The Correspondent. Correspondent was so good. Um, what's my other go-tos? Oh, Frozen River, which has been out for a few years. That's like historical fiction. Um, bum bum. Oh, a fantasy, a romantasy book that I really liked was The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, like vampire fantasy. It's a duology. That's the other thing. I
Mm.
can't get into a series too much. If there's like 8 books, I just don't have time. So I love a duology. It's still like you get a little extra something, but it doesn't have like that third book that's it's trying to get you somewhere that you don't want to be. But yeah, those are some of my go-tos for recommendations.
I love a great digestible fantasy because sometimes, and I have read fantasy, I would not claim it as like one of my main genres, but one time I was like, yeah, I'll read Lady of Darkness, and it's like 5 books long, like almost 1,000 pages each, and I'm like, what the hell did I sign myself up for?
Right?
Um, and so I feel like the digestible fantasy where it's not prolonged really helps people get familiar with the genre, like, oh, this is what to expect. And then,
Absolutely. That's a good way to put it.
yeah, because I've made that mistake now, and I'm in book 3, so hopefully I will see the end soon. But
That's funny. I feel that. Yep.
so for listeners that are like, oh my gosh, I'm by Beloit, I want to go. Where should they go to keep in the know of all the things going on at the Rogue Bookshop, whether it be ordering books or your events coming up? Where can they go?
Our website is the best place to order books. You can order books straight off our website. You can also see our real-time inventory. So if there's something you're looking for and you're wondering if we have it in the store and you can come and get it, you can look online and see if we have it. It'll say available in store. You can also order right off there, and you can see all our events. You can buy tickets for events that we're holding. You can RSVP. We hold a book club once a month. We usually get about 30 people showing up for that book club. And it's the Rogue Book Club, so there are no rules. You come, you read whatever you want, you talk about whatever you want. Um, and it's always a lot of fun. It's great energy, and it's one of my favorite nights of the month. So you can see all that information there. You can also follow us on Instagram at the Rogue Bookshop and on Facebook at the Rogue Bookshop as well.
I will also drop all of those links in the description below, no matter where you're getting this podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube. Just go to the description below. And also, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe because the Rogue Bookshop and Jamie is my first one on this indie bookstore journey that I'm on. And Jamie, I'm so appreciative that you took some time to talk to me about this. I've learned so much in just this half hour about being a bookstore owner I had no idea about before now.
That's great. I'm happy to be a part of it. So thank you for having me.
Of course, have a good day.
You too.